fingers to the fader. Raise your hands up to the speakers. You are here to entertain us. From the DJ to the mixer, from my fingers to the fader. Raise your hands up to the speakers, because this is for the ragers. From the DJ to the mixer, from my fingers to the fader. Raise your hands up to the speakers. You are here to entertain us.
Hello, and welcome to TCNewTech. We are just about to begin the 7th virtual TCNewTech, and in our 5th year of monthly events. So welcome, everyone. I'm Jennifer Zunko. I'm the Executive Director of TCNewTech, and very excited that tonight our pitches are all coming from Michigan State University student groups. They are amazing, incredibly talented people with some fantastic ideas. So we're going to give each of them 5 minutes to pitch their idea and 5 minutes to answer questions from the audience. So be sure to ask your questions throughout the presentation in the chat, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, and we will give them the questions after they finish their presentation. We'll also have some announcements and updates throughout the presentation tonight, and then at the very end, we will allow the audience to vote for the pitch prize winner. Now, these pitches have been perfected. They've been working on them for a long time, and our friends at 20 Fathoms took time last week to review all of the pitches, and their mentors helped them to review and polish their pitch. There was no charge for anybody. This is just a service offered by 20 Fathoms. And that's where we're broadcasting from tonight, live from 20 Fathoms, or I am anyway. Everybody else is broadcasting from wherever they are. So we're all coming together tonight, and soon we'll be able to vote for the best pitch. After tonight's event, anybody that's local here in town, we're going to meet over at Thirsty Fish, which is in downtown Traverse City on State Street. We've reserved some tables on their patio, and hope to see you all there after this event. So next, I want to introduce Lisa Baker Lawrence. She is a longtime member of TCNewTech. She's a founding member, and she's a consultant with Access Point. And Access Point has been a supporting sponsor for TCNewTech for quite a while, and we really appreciate all that they do. So I'm going to bring in Lisa now.
Hello.
Hello, Lisa. And broadcasting from Access Point, just kitty corner from where 20 Fathoms sits.
Yes, thank you for having us again, Jen. Always a warm welcome, and good evening, everybody. We're excited to kick off our, what month is it now? I'm losing track. October TCNewTech. This evening we have, like Jen mentioned, 5 pitches, and we have some. We have a new feature on our presentation where it is going to type everything that I'm saying. I was thinking I needed to give Jen a heads up that we have some technical errors. Here we go. Okay, my apologies. Let's get on track tonight. Okay, welcome everybody. Our mission with TCNewTech is the same every single month. First Tuesday of every month, we are a community of tech enthusiasts, business owners, entrepreneurs, community members, venture capitalists, you name it, and everybody can get together and enjoy TCNewTech, and everybody can contribute in their own way. So if you are interested in becoming a member today, you can join us at tcnewtech.org. You can scan this QR code. This event is always free. It will always be free, but we do require some dollars to make this thing keep rolling. So your becoming a member would be greatly appreciated. There are a lot of things that can happen by doing that. We want to thank the Burgess Institute this evening. Burgess Institute for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, as our pitch prize sponsor. They are part of Michigan State University. And I'm here to tell us a little bit more about Burgess Institute is Paul Jakes. Paul is the Burgess Institute's Managing Director of Venture Creation, and Paul works directly with Spartan Ventures as they take their ideas to market. So welcome, Paul.
Thanks,
Welcome
Lisa.
back.
Appreciate it. Yeah, it's been our second or third time, so we really appreciate it. The teams that you're going to see tonight have all been through our process. What they do is they come to us with an idea from the very beginning, and we walk them all through the same process. They get access to resources like interns. We pay interns that work for them, that work with them on different things like graphic design, web design, CAD work, legal, marketing. That's all free to the students. And then they all need funding. So if they need resources for entity formation, provisional patent, travel, marketing, whatever they need, we actually give them the resources to push them forward through some endowments that we were given. And the great thing is we don't own any part of their company. So it's a really good advantage that they have as students to really take part of this. Tonight, a lot of the teams you'll see, some are very early, some are a little bit further along. So, but they're all very polished and great speakers. We're really looking for people in the crowd to be mentors, possible partners, investors. We're looking for everything. And some really big thank yous I wanted to say is to all of you that are here tonight. I know a lot are from Traverse City, some others are coming from elsewhere, but thank you for attending. Thank you to the teams for attending, to TCNewTech, and to, like Jennifer said, to 20 Fathoms, Lauren and Jack and her team that are there. And then one thing just to let the group know that all of the teams in the world, name it from Facebook to Google to whatever, all started on a bar napkin, a dorm, or wherever. So think about that as you look at these teams. These are ideas, and hopefully we can get them moving, and really appreciate it. So these are all Michigan State teams. I got my green on, and I really got to say go green. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Glad to have you back. Thank you, everybody from Michigan State, and we look forward to hearing from you guys. So without further ado, we want to welcome our Michigan Broadband Services and all that they do for us. They have been longtime sponsors. I can't hear their video, but it's pretty amazing. They offer fiber internet to the local area and actually all over. So if you're a business owner or a homeowner and looking for fiber, you can contact Sarah Hunt and she can get you connected. So thank you, Michigan Broadband Services, for your continued support of TCNewTech. I wanted to explain a little bit about the voting. So if you've been here before, you'll know that voting takes place at the very end. So you want to get your phone out. We will give you instructions again at the end, but you do require a text option to vote. We're going to give you codes for each presentation. We'll make sure that you're aware of who they are so that you can track that for the end of the presentation. So you're going to vote via text at the very end. And it looks like we're moving on through our program, and we're going to get right to it. So we want to I want to welcome Matthew with Chalk Talk. Welcome to TCNewTech.
Thank you.
Take it away.
I will do. Let me just get my PowerPoint up. And all right. So hi guys, my name is Matt Forgas. I'm a senior studying finance at Michigan State, and I am the co-founder of a mobile app called Chalk Talk. So this semester has been really challenging. One of the hardest parts about it is that we spend so much time working alone. It's really hard to be engaged when you're not in an environment with classmates and other students. Current communication tools to do this, to talk with each other now, are too slow, they're overly formal, and they're too structured. And that's why I came up with an app called Chalk Talk. It's an app that lets classmates talk with each other after school. If you're doing homework or studying and you need help, you simply pull out our app and can post a message to your entire class. Chalk Talk has a simple design that looks and feels like a social media app because it has a microblogging format. This makes class discussion faster, easier, and more convenient. But more important than that, it's something comfortable and familiar to students. It allows us to have genuine conversations and talk like we normally do. You can use it when you want to, when you need help, and you can leave it alone when you don't. Our goal isn't to be a necessity, but a resource. Students who do use it and help each other receive benefits like recognition and prizes through our reward system. They earn points for helping classmates, learning new material, and talking about class topics. By talking with our classmates more frequently and casually, students will be more engaged, more interested, and will work better together during real class. Despite being college students, we actually found through our market research that the high school education industry was a much better fit. So what we did is we went back and we talked with all our old high school teachers. We came with nothing but an idea and just tried to get their feedback. They really enjoyed the concept of just us working with them, and we came back again with a beta and we got even more feedback on them. But they all loved it. So what we did is we learned a lot. And one of the things that we wanted to do is use teachers as a form of distribution to get to students. We found that if we got to 1 or 2 teachers at each school and gave them a great experience, they were really likely to refer it to some of their colleagues. So again, one of the things that was most important was that teachers were willing to talk with us. We were former students and they knew us, but they were willing to give us an opportunity. And that's kind of how we started our growth. We just wanted to find people who were willing to give us feedback and give us their honest input. And to keep going forward, we think that's going to be the way of the future. The best people that sell to teachers are teachers themselves. So we want to get really good users who love the product and are willing to share it with others that they know. And another thing we want to do is use the MSU alumni. Michigan State has made so many great teachers across the state of Michigan, and we think that's a really good entrance and gateway to kind of get into some schools and get our product out on the market. So once teachers get the app, it's really simple for them to get using it. They simply go to the App Store, download the app, they'll make an account and get a free unique class code, and then they send that code to their students and they can instantly start using it. Right now, there's no cost for it because of COVID-19. We really think that it's such a great resource that we don't want to limit anyone to use it, and we want to help as many students and teachers as we can, especially during this time. As we talk with these teachers, a lot of them are asking about how it's different than what they're doing. One of their main concerns is they don't want to keep taking on additional technologies. So when we talk about Chalk Talk and how we're different, we really focus on how our main focus is on communication. There's other platforms, especially Schoology has been really popular, that focus on everything and they act as a virtual classroom. But what Chalk Talk allows is for students to be genuine and have real interaction after school at their own disposal rather than being required to do so. And it's also an addition because it's such a simple product and it can be implemented with any other system or LMS that they're already using. Right now, we're currently awaiting Apple's approval on the App Store, and then we can begin our test runs. We actually talked with a ton of teachers, as I mentioned, and we have 10 firm commitments as to teachers who are ready to use it as soon as we're ready. Everything we've done up to this point has been about reducing teacher friction. We want to be able to take the product for teachers, give it to them so they can easily give it to their students. Teachers are undergoing a lot of stress right now, and we just want to make it as simple as possible for them to get using it and get their students using it. In the future, we're really looking for a technical partner. We think we can move a lot faster than we have been because we haven't been in control of the technology. Our operating costs right now for our third party are $75 a month, and we expect it to continue around there as if we continue working with them. And we really want to hone in on a monetization strategy. We think if we get a bunch of usage during this time, we'll be able to eventually figure out a way that we could sell it to schools or to school districts, depending on the usage, again, and the type of volume that we're getting. So our team is very diverse. Connor's, both of these guys are lifelong friends and great guys that I've known for a while, but they're very different mindset. Connor's background and Luke's kind of the opposite, and I'm a diversion of both. But just in conclusion, we're all on the same page, but we work better as a team, but sometimes it's really hard to get on the team together. So we want Chalk Talk to be an opportunity for students to work together better and easier. Thank you.
Excellent. Right on time. So we have 5 additional minutes for questions to come through and for you to answer them. We do sometimes have a little bit of a delay from our folks over on YouTube, but for all of you that are watching, please comment on your live streams and we will get your questions filtered to Matthew. So one of the questions, I know you mentioned you're a senior, but what's your hometown, Matt?
I'm from Wixom, Michigan, near like Walled Lake, Novi area, if you're familiar. It's like it's about 30 minutes out of Detroit, north of Detroit.
Okay,
so
great.
Yeah.
Awesome. So it looks like we're waiting for a couple questions to come through. Do you have a frequently asked question that you would like the audience to be aware or have the answer to?
No, I think that I guess a lot of questions that come from teachers are how are we different? And there's a lot of tools being used right now. But I guess if there's one thing I'd like to say, it's that there's a lot of things that are used for virtual education, obviously, and they're doing a great job. But I think they're really lacking in communication because they're built as a classroom and they're not necessarily about students talking to each other, and the platforms aren't really friendly for that. So yeah.
I can attest to that. Having a few teenagers, I've seen the platforms that they're using during class and they might get a little distracted. This would be helpful for them to stay focused. Looks like Rod has a question here. He'd like to know, do you see this becoming a revenue stream?
Yes, definitely I do. As I mentioned, with COVID, schools are kind of hectic right now. And just approaching teachers, they're very overwhelmed and stressed. We just wanted something to push it out and kind of get feedback and more usage before we think about kind of trying how to monetize it. But I think in the future, if we have a bunch of users and we're getting good feedback from teachers, I think a reasonable option is to sell it to either entire schools or districts so they can all use this service.
Excellent. Brennan would like to know, how do you divert your team's work based on the needs of Chalk Talk at this time? And what are you doing to resolve the issues around finding a technical person?
Sure. Yeah. So as I mentioned, Connor has a background in more of like analytical, and he worked in a laboratory. He's a biochem major, so he was actually working to find doing research on HIV. But he's been applying that to how we've been using our marketing campaigns. What messages are working? What kind of feedback are we getting on? And how can we be doing things better? Luke is more of, again, outgoing and a salesy networking. So he's been working with Michigan State to try to find, alumni and people willing to talk. And he actually got in contact with the head of technology integration at Farmington School District, which is near my hometown. And to resolve the issues, finding a technical person, right now we're just working through it. Again, we're really early on, so it's something we want to do in the future, but we're also taking on some interest in learning something called no code for people who aren't technical co-founders, so we can kind of learn at least more of a experience.
Great. Ben would like to know, he says, Chalk Talk is currently a platform. How will you get your message out without confusing the end users? Or is the name up for debate? Is the name up for debate? And a great job on the functionality.
Yeah, thank you. Yep, we're definitely, we're aware, and that was part of the issue getting on the App Store, is Chalk Talk was taken, and there's a few services, so we're definitely open to changing that in the future. But right now, just to keep it simple, we've been sticking with that.
Great. We have about 30 seconds. I'm curious to know, how did you come up with the name?
So my actual kind of like inspiration or, idea, the moment that I thought of it was, if you think about a chalkboard, it's like the oldest thing, in a classroom. And I wanted to kind of combine that with a more modern feel, in the sense of social media is so new, and the way we communicate now is so much different than it used to be, although classrooms haven't changed as much as they necessarily could. So I wanted to kind of combine those two elements.
Yeah, memorialize the chalk. I don't know if there'll be a next generation that will know what chalk is very soon. So yeah. Thank you so much. Well done. Stick around, Matthew. We'll be putting the voting up for Chalk Talk here at the end of the program.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we have supporting sponsors. We want to give a little shout out and say thank you to Miss Susan Rouser with State Farm over on 8th Street. Susan's been a supporting sponsor for quite some time. Thank you so much, Susan. And we also have our SCORE mentors. Those SCORE mentors have been coming to TCNewTech and supporting our pitch presenters and attending for many, many years. The same goes with Northern Michigan Angels. You can research those guys online and get in contact right now if you are someone looking for financial support for your startup. And Mr. Blake Bernard with Home Waters Real Estate. If you haven't learned, a lot of folks are heading their way to Traverse City. It's a great place to do business, and he and his team can help you find a place to live. The Nielsen Family Foundation. Nielsen Family has been part of the Traverse City community thread for quite some time, and they have been fantastic supporters. So thank you so much to the Nielsen family. I want to welcome Reese with Oxen Games. Reese, welcome to TCNewTech. Reese is coming on live. There he is.
Hello. Can you see me?
I can. Welcome.
Thank you. Let me attempt to try and share my screen here. Okay.
Perfect.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Reese Kagonis, and I am presenting on my company, Oxen Games. So I'm a student studying microbiology here at Michigan State. I'm actually the first person to attend college in my family. Education was not very well understood or attained. And in my first semester here, I actually debated dropping out due to my poor education experience. I decided to stick with higher ed one more semester, and thank God I did, because I took my first biology course and fell in love with it because of how well my professor engaged their students. And I realized how important the experience in education really is. So I wanted to find out why students are initially attracted to STEM in the first place. And there's no surprise here, but STEM positions earn on average 26% more than non-STEM positions. This STEM interest I found is actually rooted in high school, and the interest in achievement in science is associated with the interest in achievement in college. So setting students up for success in high school, even if it's just their interest, is important. So I did a little bit of research and found a huge problem. The average science test scores and interest in science has not changed in high school. In 2009 to 2015, it has actually remained at the same level, right above basic, which is a huge problem. I wanted to fix this. I didn't know necessarily where to start. So I asked around and found a recurring concept that is difficult for students to learn: the immune system. And in fact, Dr. Olive, one of our advisors now, says that the immune system is fundamentally misunderstood. So we really need to change this, especially during this pandemic where your immune system is your life. So we essentially want to solve this through interactive and engaging gaming software that's designed directly to the concept. What I mean by that is the mechanics of the game are directly based on the mechanics of the biological concept, in this case, the immune system. So we want to basically provide a macroscopic view of microscopic concepts. It's an interactive simulation of these biological concepts. You're seeing what's going on. And we're essentially taking the entertainment industry of mobile games and converting it and placing it into this educational space. So it's attractive for students. So I looked into some other companies that are also doing this, and I found that many of them are either too gamified or too informative, so too boring or not educational enough. And many of them are also not user-friendly. And if you can't initially attract these students and teachers to the software, it's very difficult to hold their attention. So this is just a quick summary of all the companies that I kind of analyzed. And we really want to differentiate ourselves through ensuring that our product is interactive, appealing, user-friendly, true to the design of the biological concept, and has multiple resources within the game, and is also STEM related. And we specialize in creating games that are designed, again, to the concept. And we found a severe lack in aesthetics and functionality of many educational programs inside schools, according to teachers and students. And this is what we think, what will attract students is this aesthetic part of the product. So we wanted to know how exactly we're going to get our games inside the school. And we found a model company, iCivics, if you've ever heard of it, which is a nonprofit that we're trying to emulate. They focus on more civics concepts, but around 6 million students are already playing these games. And they're kind of similar to what we're doing, but very different concepts. So we wanted to start here. And we started with our current teacher relationships and stemmed from there to really understand if teachers and students want to use this type of software. We planned several testing events in local high schools. We have a current one coming up on October 13th in Seaholm High School in Birmingham. And so here are just some testimonials of teachers and professors in the field. And you can see that teachers, there's a clear need for something like this. They need an alternative way to teach, especially during a pandemic. And they're saying that visualization of these microscopic concepts like the immune system is vital to educating about them. Now, we plan for this to be completely free, both to the teacher and to the student. But we do not want to sell directly to the schools for a variety of reasons. And so we plan to work with these teachers individually as they're the ones that are actually teaching the concepts and then implement our product into their curriculum. And we think we can make money through in-game advertisements and purchases. And these purchases will only affect the gaming side of the product. Every student will receive the exact same level of education. It's just if a student wants to kind of alter their experience. And so this is just a rough draft of our of a planned financial model, but we found that 40% of children actually already make in-game purchases, and 10% of the total mobile gamers in the US spend money in-game. And if we take the students from what I initially proposed from iCivics, that's 6 million students, that's 600,000 potential in-game purchases. If we have our games at that level inside schools. And of course, that's going to take a lot of time, but we really hope to see if teachers want to use this and students enjoy this. So that is it. Sorry, I went over a bit, but thank you so much. Our website, you can see there, it's currently being redesigned. So if you go to it, it'll look a little weird, but you can go back on October 15th.
Excellent.
Okay, I'm gonna stop my...
All right, nice job, Reese. If anybody is paying attention, I do keep track of the time. So I let the little 30-second window go into the Q&A. So I think that will be all right with you. We'll go ahead and let the questions start to roll in. Congratulations on entering college and making that a transition for your family. I love that you included that. Those things should be celebrated, and I think that's fantastic. What year are you at MSU?
Last year, I know.
Okay, and what's your
Birmingham,
hometown?
Michigan, Commerce Township area. So if we're doing the hand thing, it's backwards on the camera, but it's there.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Reese. So we do have a question coming in. Rod would like to know, what age brackets are you targeting?
So I'm trying to target older, specifically 12th, 11th, 10th grade, because there aren't really many games targeted in that area for that age group. Mm-hmm. So kind of a higher level of understanding, higher level topics, concepts.
Okay. And Eric would like to know, well, he says, great job. And you shared several competitors in this space. Do you have plans for patents on your unique technology?
Yes and no. Right now, there's not so much. But if I were to get to a point where there are a lot of users, then yes, I would definitely put more into protecting it. Thank you for the question.
Great. Sometimes there's a little delay with questions. So is there a question that you would like the audience to have the answer to?
Not necessarily. There's not a particular question. A lot of people kind of are wondering how the mechanics are directly based on the concepts. And I just kind of, what I did for this is studied, well, I'm studying microbiology, so I kind of already knew it. But I study kind of the underlying concepts and design the game based off of those concepts and how it actually works.
Gotcha. What makes your game fun?
So, well, there's a lot of things that make it fun. And I really tried to design the game, to design these games similar to other popular mobile casual video games. And the education, what's not really, the education isn't really taking away from the fun aspect, because like I said earlier, the education is embedded in the mechanics of the game. So even if you're not reading the text and all the resources, you're understanding how these different cells and how these things move in our body, because it's directly lined up like that.
Great. Got a few really great questions coming through. So you've got about a minute and a half here. Would the game be purchasable outside the schools if a parent wants to get their child connected outside of whether the school is willing to?
Oh, wait.
And the second part, so is it available outside of the school, and how do the parents get connected? And then the second part of his question is it comparable to Khan Academy?
So it is, I am planning for this to be available outside of schools. I would like anyone to play it. I'm starting off with schools, but anyone really can play this without a teacher, because it's kind of self-explanatory. And that's kind of the benefit of having it inside the schools too, is that the teacher doesn't really have to do much.
Great.
And it is yes, it can be comparable to Khan Academy, but yeah, kind of that functionality, what you're saying, that anyone can sign up.
You mentioned how other educational games have a lack of aesthetics. What did you do to avoid this?
So oh, sorry, this is kind of popping up. Oh, I can't really see myself anymore.
I can see you. We can see you.
So yes, I mentioned other games have this lack of aesthetics. So I basically took these popular casual video games and I tried to emulate what they were doing and what these players and students really like for these other games, and tried to kind of copy that, but put it into this educational kind of format.
Got it. So Bill Myers would like to know, will you control the kind of advertising that appears on the games?
Yes. So the kind of advertisement, it's all through the back end, but yes, you're not going to get random advertisements for random things, but yes, it would be controlled.
Perfect. That's probably a big concern in the education with releasing their students to the interwebs, et cetera.
I know.
Well, thank you so much, Reese. We really appreciate you being here, and well done tonight. Please stick around to the end of the program when we're going to be doing the votes. For those of you reading the screen, Oxen Games, you'll use code BB to the text at the end of the program, and not to worry, we will remind you of each presentation and the codes accordingly. Moving forward, we'd like to have a quick update on 20 Fathoms, and here to do that is Marketing Director Carrie. Carrie, welcome to TCNewTech, or welcome back. So it looks like we have a recorded video from 20 Fathoms that's just getting started. What is happening? There is a lot going on in October, but there's not a lot of volume, and that's okay because we can all read. So there are plenty of events, and these are 20 Fathoms events. 20fathoms.org, you can see an entire list. Many of these request RSVPs, so you can do that. There are social and educational events, and they're very busy providing a lot of education to the community. So I will say that looks like there's some scholarships available, and I want to make sure I do a good job here, but stay in the loop. Read the screen here, stay in the loop, subscribe to their newsletter, visit their Eventbrite, and obviously their website, 20fathoms.org. All right, everybody, thank you for your patience. We're going to get right into, if we can get Carrie up on the screen, we'll do that. If not, we'll move into our third pitch for the evening. We do have 5. So you're almost halfway through the program tonight. All right. So we want to welcome Victor here in just a moment. Victor with Med Mentor. Welcome to TCNewTech.
Hi, thank you.
Hello. Thank you for being here. Welcome to TCNewTech.
Pleasure, yeah, thank you for setting this up and for having this on.
You can take it away. I'm going to get Carrie's name off the screen so we know who you are. There we go.
All right, is that presenting okay?
It just popped up. Yes, sir.
Great. All right, so first let me just say congrats to both Reese and Matt. You guys did a really great job, so well done there. Tonight, I'm pitching on behalf of my team, Med Mentor, which is an online platform aimed at making it easier for pre-medical students to reach out and interact with current medical students. So the problem we're trying to fix is there's 1 in 5 medical students have a parent who's already in the medical field. So that leaves about 80% of kids without a immediately established connection that they can use to grow and develop a network that can help them get to where they want to be. So the solution that we're presenting is a mobile-friendly online service called Med Mentor that'll help and increase the knowledge and direction and the confidence that pre-medical students have when it comes to making the connections they need to get where they want to be. So with this platform, we're putting all of the control into the pre-medical students' hands. And we want to do that by asking them a series of questions which are aimed at understanding who exactly they'd like to speak with. So these will be things like, what research or clinical interests would you like your medical student to have? Would you like them to have taken a gap year, yes or no? And a couple of other things. And after answering all those questions, the pre-medical student will be able to uprank or downrank their answers so as to tell our software to put more focus on certain criteria over others. Once they submit their answers, they'll be given a list of responses that our software has come up with based on our database of med student profiles. And those profiles will match as best as they can the criteria that's been offered by the pre-medical student. So let's say I choose Austin here. I would see his profile and I can send him a chat. If I choose to do so, I'll be placed into a one-on-one private chat room where I can ask him focused, pointed questions about my application or what my summer internship should be, things that pre-meds are really constantly thinking about. So the market we're really going for, first locally at Michigan State, is those kids that just don't have physicians or researcher parents in the family. And because of this, they don't have that already set up network that's helping other kids get into medical school. A potential for monetization that we see is the fact that we'll be generating a pretty large amount of data that has to do with what students are preferring as they move through college. So we'll have data on what research or clinical interests kids have, what degrees they tend to get. And we think this could pretty meaningfully inform what programs are given more funding from a med school or what type of faculty are hired. This is probably where we could use the most guidance from anyone in the audience tonight to see if this is a viable thing, but this is kind of the direction we're thinking of taking it. So us versus LinkedIn, there are some pretty, I think, important differences. The first of which is if I choose to type in a medically relevant term like immunology, I find people, but they're very often out of my network for some reason, and it's hard to really figure out why that might be. And going around and trying to figure out how I can connect with them is a pretty laborious thing that most students who have a quick question that they need answered just don't want to do. And so Med Mentor will reduce this barrier, remove this barrier, I should say, and will make it easier for them to use medically relevant search terms like neurogenesis or tau pathology while still getting them in touch with someone that can really be of help to them. So a little bit more on some of our competition or other people doing this similar type of thing. Another big one is Student Doctor Network, which doesn't offer student-selected criteria. It can be instantaneous, but it's often in the form of a blog post, which can take a long time to hear back from. And the big thing we're trying to build on is the lack of verified communication. So with Med Mentor, you'll use the Michigan State single sign-on infrastructure, whereas with Student Doctor Network, I can hop on as anyone, say I'm from Stanford Med, and start talking about how great Stanford Med is. And so that's potentially helpful if the information I have happens to be correct, but it's most likely not going to be. These are some folks that have really been sort of invaluable to us as we get this into the testing phases and eventually into the implementation phase. The Lyman Bridge connection is crucial because we'll be pitching this to introductory biology students. Myself and another team member are TAs within Lyman Bridge, so we've been allowed to present this to them, and they'll be used in our beta testing sessions. Moving forward, we have a goal of completion for the first iteration of January 2021. We're going to move into a series of testing sessions where we'll grab about 20 or 30 pre-meds and medical students. Hopefully we'll load up the latter group there, and we'll just go through some feedback sessions and how can we improve this, things like that. And then through July to August, a little bit before fall 2021, we're hoping to just grow the med student user base and improve upon the testing sessions. That's all I have for you. Thank you so much, everyone, for your attention. Thank you, TCNewTech, and go green. Got it.
Well done. Awesome. I get that in, I know. That's great. Well, we appreciate you being here. So what year are you at MSU?
I'm in my 5th year. I picked up a minor this year, so I'm just getting that done. But like Reese, I'm in the sciences, and so I have a new thing for me to do here.
Great. And what's your
I grew up in Ann Arbor, so it's southeast.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So we're waiting for some questions to come through, and sometimes we're on a little bit of a delay. I don't know if you heard that. Sure. And we have, I guess, an opportunity, if you'd like, to answer maybe a frequently asked question or something that you'd like the audience to know. Absolutely. Yeah. I think first and foremost, it's really important to talk about how can we incentivize the use of this platform. Let's say I'm a med student. My schedule's full. Why would I want to use this? In talking to about 20 med students or so, that the very common response we get is, I have part of my full schedule is outreach for my college, is ambassadorships or mentorships or things that I have to go to in person. So, and we've been told that something like this could really reduce the activation energy, if you will, to allow someone to be a mentor without having to leave their apartment or go anywhere. And so that, coupled with a pretty inherent desire in most med students to make others' lives better, we think it is really helps us out in terms of how we're going to get people to use this platform. But that is the really common thing. Why would med students want to use this? Yeah, makes sense. Sure. See if any of my friends have questions on here. So if you're watching live right now, feel free to make a comment in the live stream, either on Facebook Live or YouTube, and we will get those. I'll just make a quick note that if we miss your question and it pops through after, Victor and his team over at MSU, they do have access to the live stream, so they should be able to answer those questions, and we'll get them in. You do have a kudos here. Smart idea, Eric says. I like that this solution is free for students. Have you anticipated the cost to acquire customer? Thanks for your question, Eric. It's a great one. I think insofar as our customer is going to be our pre-medical student, we can do most of that through word of mouth and on social media. So we're plugged into the College of Osteopathic Medicine's Facebook pages to get onto the medical student side. And then we also have a good presence in the Lyman Bridge, the College of Natural Science, and all of the MSU class of 2020 PITX pages. So we haven't run into any costs there. I'm sure we'll learn a lot about that as we move forward once we scale it up. But so far, so good in terms of cost of acquisition. Great. Wendy would like to know, how will you find your mentors? Hi, Wendy. Thanks for your question. The mentors, so in this case, those are the medical students. And starting, we kind of have a grassroots effort going. You know, I'm on the phone calling medical students. How does this idea sound to you? Can you tell your friends about it? And then they all come back to me and say, this sounds great, or maybe we could improve upon this. But right now, it's a lot of, you know, using my own network, using my own medical network to just get the word out. And each person I tell can post into their Facebook group, into their special interest group within the College of Osteopathic Medicine. So that's how we're doing it now, very organically. I think there's probably more we can do to automate that in terms of, you know, whether it be sending emails out once every few months to the College of Osteopathic Medicine, or have their professors bring it up in the beginning of class, something like that. But right now, it's a very organic kind of, what do you think about this? How can we make it the best possible platform, and just generating interest that way. Great. So it sounds like you created this based on a need for yourself, but I'm assuming there was maybe something that sparked your ideas. I'd love to hear more about that, but I want to honor the question that's coming through on the screen ahead. I'd like to know, are there any costs to developing the platform?
Yeah, so we anticipate more when we move into a truly iOS platform on the App Store. We moved away from that, and now we're doing a total web-based platform, which costs are much smaller, essentially negligible. The Hatch incubator at MSU actually offers Amazon Web Service credits that we'll be taking advantage of to host a lot of our information. And that's my very macroscopic understanding of it. I'm not the lead developer. He's not here. But very negligible costs for us right now.
Fair answer. Ben, I'd like to know, so you have created a secure system for entities. Have you thought about using a platform like LinkedIn to log on or log in?
Yeah, I think that's a really great question. As we're thinking about it right now, we want to take advantage of the already in place infrastructure. So when I sign on, when I want to find a paper in the journal Nature, let's say, I use my MSU student login and password that I use for everything, and that's how I get it there. And that's their way of making sure I'm a student with that should have access. It turns out we can take advantage of the same infrastructure and for free, and so that's the approach we're taking, using these Stu Info logins, as we call it at MSU, and we'll build that out as we move towards other medical schools.
Great. Well, it looks like we might have time for one more question. I'll see if that pops through. While we're waiting, we'll remind everybody that the voting will be at the end of the entire program. So we have, I think, 1 or 2 more to go. Actually, 1 more to go, and we'll get there. Okay. All right. Well, I think unless you have anything else to add, we'll call it a wrap, and we will see you at the end. So thank you, Victor, with Med Mentor.
Take care.
All right. So next line up here is Travis Connect is going to be here to give us a brief update. So we appear to be having some volume issues again, which is okay. And if you're just jumping on, you probably didn't need to know that we already had issues, but we did. So Traverse Connect has created Michigan's CreativeCoast.com. You can visit their website. They're doing a lot of very innovative things and sharing a lot of information about how to get folks connected to talent attraction in a lot of different areas. So there's a space there for new folks who are coming to the area to land and get information about what is going on. So we want to invite everybody to visit their website. So the Creative Coast, so visit TCNewTech.org and you should be able to find a drop down for Creative Coast and give that a go. A lot of great things going on. If you're new to the area, especially, it's going to be a great place for you to connect and learn what's available to you in Traverse City. And I'm not going to sing for you guys. I don't even have background music, but I can tell you this video is phenomenal and probably showing a lot of the area attractions. And for those of you that have not been to Traverse City and you're joining online, definitely worth taking a visit. So we're going to let this play through, and I'm pretty sure they're trying to share with you here is that we are a full 4 seasons environment. And so some of the folks from the very far south have really appreciated that there's a lot to do in all 4 seasons. There's a lot of agriculture. There's a lot of arts and entertainment in addition to technology. So if you are relocating from one of those areas for a tech-related position and you bring along a spouse who might have an interest in arts or agriculture, we do have a place for them in our town. So I want to say a big thank you to Traverse Connect in this wonderful video. Sorry we couldn't do it justice with the sound behind it, but you've got a very good message coming across here and showing all the diversity in the work that can be available to anybody that's interested. And hiking and surfing. So that is fresh water for those of you who haven't seen the Great Lakes. Beautiful. So Creative Coast by Traverse Connect. Traverse Connect is the former Traverse City Area Chamber of Commerce. Please visit their website today and get connected. So Josh, we're saving the best for last here. Josh Cooper is with Scoop. Josh, welcome back to TCNewTech. Good evening.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're happy you're here.
Screen?
We can. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for being here tonight. I really do appreciate it. I'm very excited to share a little bit about what we've been working on here at Scoop. And so what you're looking at here is what we call the out-of-home advertising industry. Out-of-home advertisements come in all different shapes and sizes. They're on moving vehicles, they're at bus shelters, they're on the sides of buildings. It's one of the most dominant forms of advertising by far. But believe it or not, it's a really archaic space. And most of the platforms that exist out of the home are static, which means every time an advertiser wants to upload a message, they have to print out an ad. Somebody has to go out there and install it. It's an incredibly time-consuming and labor-intensive process. And at Scoop, we really believe that the future of out-of-home advertising is digital. That's why we built tools to enable billboard marketplace software. I want to talk about what I mean by that. Billboard marketplace software at its core is really about the art of bridging the gap that exists today between advertisers and billboard operators. You see, if a small to medium business wanted to launch a billboard campaign, on average, it would take them about 3 to 4 weeks to locate the billboards, to lock in the space, and actually get the media up there. And so we've started on building tools for billboard owners. Our app is called Scoop Signage, and it can be plugged into any screen, whether it's an LED billboard or a small TV. Any billboard operator can use our app to remotely control what's playing on their screens. So no longer do they have to go to the billboard, climb up it, swap out the content. Most importantly, the tool that we've built that all of the billboard operators love the most is our marketplace tool. We make it really easy for a billboard owner to sell their ad space online, and that's key. So advertisers can simply log on to a website, find the billboard that's right for them, and launch a campaign from Times Square to Tokyo and everywhere in between in just a matter of a few minutes. There is a huge need for this type of tech. Believe it or not, less than 10% of the 25 million displays that exist out of the home in the country today are digital. That's about to change really quickly as the cost of LED billboards are decreasing. It's expected that by the year 2027, more than half of all of these displays will be digital. That means millions of screens are coming online in just a couple of years. All of them will need remote control capabilities, and all of them will need to be bought and sold online. We have a ton of unique insight when it comes to this space because we actually used to be in the business of selling digital billboard space. And in fact, we were the first people to ever put a digital screen on a moving bike taxi. We learned the ins and outs of selling ads on digital screens. But more importantly, we learned about the complexities and the gaps that exist when it comes to software to get media up onto these screens. It can be really challenging to do so. And so what we ultimately decided to do was take all of the revenue that we generated from selling ads, and we invested those dollars back into the business to build Scoop Signage, our app. We spent all of 2020 building this app. All of the quarantine months were spent coding, and in August of 2020, we finally launched a beta. Right now, we have 55 beta screens on our app, and between them, they reach about 62 million people every month. These screens come in all different shapes and sizes, from mega roadside billboards to moving screens on vehicles, even into retail. With our current growth trajectories, we're on track to generate about $24,000 in monthly recurring revenue by the end of next year. Our revenue model is super simple. Billboard operators pay us a monthly recurring fee per screen, They get all of the remote management tools as well as the marketplace tools. Between our team, about 60% of us are software developers and programmers, and the other 40% of us are business development and operations specialists. We're all 100% committed to the future of out-of-home advertising. We can't do this alone, and that's why we've opened up our seed raise. We're currently raising $550,000, $265,000 of which has already been raised and collected, and the vast majority of these funds are going towards software development completion and new user acquisition. I'm sure you guys have a ton of questions about the future of out-of-home billboards and Scoop as a whole. I'd love to turn it over to you guys for some questions.
Fantastic. Well done, Josh. Thank you. What year are you at MSU?
I'm a senior. It's hard to believe it's gone this fast, but home stretch.
That's awesome. And what about your hometown?
I'm from a town called West Bloomfield, about 25 minutes outside of Detroit.
Right, great. So it does take a second for the questions to start coming in. So those of you watching online, feel free to submit your questions via Facebook live stream or YouTube. If we do miss any of your questions due to time, we'll give Josh an opportunity to jump online and answer those for you. Josh, is there a question while waiting for those to come through that you would like to answer for the audience, a frequently asked question or something you might have been thinking about?
One question we get asked all the time is, where is the future of billboards going? And it's not just about digitizing all of the displays out there. It's really about analytics. And what I mean by that is digital platforms like Facebook and Google fundamentally change the way ads are bought and sold. Today, advertisers buy audiences. They don't necessarily care what platform they appear on. What they really care about is that they're reaching their target market. And so there's a lot of tech that we're starting to integrate into our software, from mobile device data pings to smart cameras that can get an accurate read on who's in front of the billboard. All of these types of technologies are really key to making sure that an advertiser who is launching an out-of-home advertisement campaign can get an accurate read on not only how many people saw the billboard, but specifically who saw the billboard. And that's a really big component to the future of out-of-home advertising that we're really focused on.
Good point. Thank you for that. Max would like to know, who are some of your biggest competitors? And then he leaves with a compliment that he is in love with the idea, by the way.
Thank you, Max. I appreciate that. As far as competitors go, there's really two silos of competitor types. And so the first is on the billboard operator end. So obviously anybody who's operating a digital billboard needs some kind of what we call content management system. It's a software that enables the billboard owner to send new ads to the billboard. And so when it comes to competition, there are a lot of billboard manufacturers that make CMSs, content management systems. The problem with some of those are they're hardware agnostic, which means you can only use specific CMSs on very specific billboards. It's very hard to find a content management system that could power a mega highway billboard or a small TV in like a mall or an airport. So number one, we are hardware agnostic. And so there are competitors on the software end, but most importantly, on the marketplace end. There's really not a ton of people that are listing billboards for sale online. There are people, some of which are called Ad-Only, Blip, which some of you may have heard of, but the key here is there really is no tool that's aggregated both the content management system and the marketplace into one the way we have.
Great. We do have a few questions coming through in just a couple minutes, so I want to make sure you get a chance to answer those. How do you get conversion rates for your customers?
One of the best ways that we've it's hidden gem. One thing that we uncovered about 4 or 5 months ago is every single state has to have a registrar of all the out-of-home billboards that exist. And so, for instance, MDOT, Michigan Department of Transportation, has a great map on their website where you can actually see every single billboard in the state. And so we use tools like those to get directly to the billboard owner. And then we have a sales team who will reach out to those individuals specifically. And that's been a really crucial tool as far as finding where the billboard operators are. Another end of it is industry trade shows. And so there are a lot of industry verticals that use Scoop signage. Malls use Scoop signage. Airports use Scoop. Parking structures use Scoop. We are a member of the National Parking Association. There are retail associations. And so industry trade groups have been really helpful for us when it comes to finding billboards and the owners in specific industry verticals.
Great. I think you just answered that question. So the addressable market looks massive. What percentage of that market does your team think you can capture?
We want to be at 1 million screens within 5 years. That's, in my opinion, a bit modest. I think we could do a lot more than that. But you need to look at just at the country, the United States of America. There's about 25 million out-of-home displays across the country. And like I said, less than 10% of those are digital. More than 50% of those will be digital within the next 5-6 years. So anywhere between 8 to 12 million screens are going to be coming online within the next 6 or so years. I think as we scale, it's not unrealistic with the right team and the right investors, the right partners, to capture 1 million of those screens within the next half decade.
It's exciting. So that would tie into our last question here is what are your future tech integrations? What plans for future tech integrations do you have? Excuse me.
Good question. So when it comes to real tech integrations, it's important to realize that a lot of digital billboards were built in 2008, 2010, 2012, and a lot of those billboards are already using some type of on-premise media player. We've spent a lot of time figuring out ways to integrate our technology into already existing billboards. So that's number one. As far as integration goes, it's about making sure that we can power any screen, no matter how small or how large it is. But when it comes to future tech, it's really about the audience. Advertisers want to know who is going to see this billboard. And so there are integrations with databases from Verizon Media, cellular providers, and then those smart cameras that are actually scanning crowds and getting an understanding of the demographics, the psychographics, and the geographic makeup of who is in front of this billboard. And so there are tons of databases that we're already looking into from an API level to get a better accurate read and to make sure that advertisers know exactly who they are reaching.
Excellent. Well done. I think you did a great job answering the questions. I think you have a few questions online, so you might want to check the YouTube channel and the Facebook live stream. So good job, Josh, with Scoop. Please stick around. And I misquoted. You weren't the last. You were the second to the last. So we still have one more to bring on. So my apologies on that for our next presenter. Thank you, Josh. Our next presenter is Gavin. So we want to welcome Gavin to the screen here, please. So Gavin is with Catch Software. And Catch Software had quite a lot of conversation this morning on our radio program where we were giving some information to our local community about some of the pitches this evening. Welcome to TCNewTech, Gavin.
Hi, thanks for having me. How are you?
Great, thank you. I'll let you grab the screen. I'll let you know when I can see your presentation.
All right, I will go ahead and do that now. All right, are you guys able to see it?
I can see it well.
All right, so hi everybody, my name is Gavin Hubbard, and I'm going to be pitching you my application and social networking and interaction software, Catch. So we found that roughly 90% of all people use their phones frequently in a social setting, so almost hiding behind their phones while they're trying to socialize interpersonally. So that's why we created a social network that connects users who are at the same location using micro-geolocation software, allowing them to interact through using their phones to link a real space with a virtual one. And through this, we're creating networks of users out of physical locations. So our expectations here is to keep our app simple, facilitate connections, and keep it personal. So the simplicity of our app comes through the familiar design. So as you can see here on the right, we have an Instagram-like design that everybody knows and loves, and people made millions of dollars off of. Also utilization of the thumb zone and simple UI, so user interface. That's very easily to understand and very self-explanatory. So secondly, facilitating connections, having from messaging similar to that of Osage, easy user interactions, and effective notifications. You can get notified when people go ahead and message you. Lastly, keeping it personal. So we've coined the term hooks, like you can see right now, going through these various different this or that scenarios, kind of showing a little bit about yourself to the people who are at the location that you are at, who want to take a look at who you are. It allows you to put a custom biography and up to 9 pictures per user, as well as social media integration, just for ease of getting your socials across to people. So our market here, if you want to take a look at the left side of the screen, is going to be our starting point. We found that there's roughly 62.5 thousand nightclubs and bars in the United States. Specifically going down to the college demographic, 68% of college students attend college bars. And we've done the assumption based off of a 10% acceptance rate that we'll be able to reach roughly 30,000 individuals in Midwest colleges within the first 6 to 9 months. Secondly, the bottom left square, we found that 32 million people attend at least one concert per year. 50% of them fall within our target demographics. This is the primary market that we want to reach into. We've already established some connections in the music industry, engaged with Prime Social, and established some partnerships with some local Midwest artists. Secondly, on the right side, we want to break into a more professional area later down the road, using LinkedIn and going into business conventions and lectures. Going into the competitive landscape, we're looking at a very, very niche market with very few competitors and low barriers to entry. So most notable, some may know this, some may not, Foursquare. What differentiates us is they're a user to location interaction, whereas we're a user to user within a location. Secondly, Meetsy, this is actually a startup. They're not launched yet. They're coming out of LA, 2 students from UC Berkeley, and they're almost doing the same thing that we are, except they're doing it based off of a radius, whereas we're just facilitating a network based in physical locations. So our timeline here right now, we're at where the rocket ship is. The launch, we're looking to have 5,000 users in 3 weeks, and we're going to be launching that right around Halloween time, so keep a lookout for that. Nextly is when we're going to begin fundraising, optimally in October, November, once we launch, setting a goal of 150,000 for a 18-month runway to build and sustain marketing efforts. And then from there, continue to partner with concert and entertainment companies, and then eventually have a Midwest presence. So our 6-month monetization strategy is going to be multifaceted. First, referral marketing, and that's going to be done through direct messages to users. It's going to be on commission as well as an upfront contract fee. Secondly, we're going to be conducting in-house advertising. We have a number of advertisers lined up already to advertise similarly to that of Instagram, but we're going to be able to offer at a lower price because we're not going through the monstrosity that is Facebook advertising and Google AdMob. And this is very, very valuable for especially local businesses. We're trying to advertise to individuals at these various different nightlife venues and concerts. And we're able to track clickstream analytics there as well. So tying in physical consumer behavior with clickstream analytics. Our 12-month monetization strategy adds in data sales, and how we're going to be collecting data here is a timestamp of people who enter and exit locations, and this is really useful for especially for COVID-19 tracking and contact tracing, as well as future viruses now that are more sensitive to pandemics and viruses going forward. So our user growth strategy is going to come in 3 ways: ambassadors through college campuses, as well as ambassadors through concerts and entertainment, so influencers there. Secondly, promotional events is going to be done at these various different venues and nightlife events and at concerts. And we'll set a rough estimate as to what these are going to cost and how big we're going to scale these. Really partnerships within the music industry, as I've said, we've engaged with Primordial as well as a couple of local Midwest artists as well. So here are the two co-founders, myself, Gavin Hubbard, as well as my counterpart, Austin Malcheski. We're both students in Michigan State. We're both seniors. We both started a company prior to this, Crown Mileage Systems, which, Paul, I'm sure you're well too aware of this at this point. But that concludes my presentation here, and I'm going to open it up to any questions you guys might have.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, and well done, Gavin. And Gavin, we'd love to know what your hometown is. We've asked everybody else. Where are you from?
Yeah, so I'm actually from Southern Maryland, so a little drive down the road.
Okay.
No.
So you can't do this. You got to go. We do have some questions coming in, so thank you for your patience there. Melissa would like to know, do you think COVID-19 will dampen your customer interest as there is still limited social openness?
Yes and no. I think that there's definitely some opportunities given the pandemic, especially that you have to, when you go into these nightlife venues, you have to remain seated and be kind of stationary, so you can't mingle and socialize around. So this comes into handy when we're starting to launch. And I guess that also plays into the aspect of safety. It allows you to properly social distance, as well as interacting with people who are at the same location.
Makes sense. While we wait for another question to come in, is there a question that is frequently asked that you'd like to answer tonight?
Yeah, so definitely safety is the one that comes up all the time, whether it's COVID-19 or just the social safety. We have about 18 ambassadors that are working with us right now, and we've been polling them and polling people, as well as the Women in Entrepreneurship Association at MSU, and we've taken a number of different steps to provide as much of a safe environment as possible, from reporting to deletion of iMessages, blocking, but essentially where we find our safety is almost the safety in numbers aspect of it. So you're out and you're surrounded by by people, so you're not going into some stranger's house like some apps are facilitating, and then you also have the venue security, which provides extra layer of safety there.
Got it. I have a few teenagers, and they've telling me where everybody lives based on their Snapchat apps. So I'm feeling like kids, at least, are going to be completely careless about people knowing where they are and what they're doing, and the more information, the better. I don't know. I feel like it's you've got kind of one side or the other, but yeah. Definitely. That's awesome, though. I love it. Let's see if there are any other questions. We'll get that one up on the screen for you here. There is an app named Catch on App Store. Does the similar thing you just talked about, is that the one you built?
No, the Catch that is currently on the App Store is not ours. Ours is still in, we're just finished up the beta testing. So we're going to be launching it soon here, just getting it through the review process with Apple and Google Play.
Okay.
But keep an eye out for it. It'll be Catch by Catch Software LLC.
Okay. Any closing comments? We have about 30 seconds on my watch.
No, other than just keeping an eye out around Halloween. We'll be hosting a number of events in East Lansing, and going to be trying to spread as much in the Midwest as possible. Just most recently engaged with, I'm not sure if you're familiar with BRIA, the accelerator out in San Ramon, California. So we're trying to build a network out there as well. So yeah, just keep an eye out on Instagram and the App Store.
Excellent. Well, keep us posted at TCNewTech. We love to give stories about follow-ups and kind of where are they now stories. So we'd love to see you. And if you come up to Northern Michigan, let us know that as well. So Gavin, stick around. Well done with Catch Software. We are going to move right into voting, because I fibbed earlier and said that Victor was the last one, but actually it was Gavin. So we are at that part of our presentation this evening. You will need your cell phones. While we get the instructions out, you're going to need to have texting capabilities. So on the screen now, you're going to see our text phone number, as well as the pitch presentations and the names of their, what would I call that? Their ideas, their business plans, all the things that you heard tonight. So Chalk Talk, Oxen Games, Med Mentor, Scoop, and Catch Software. And for those of you who made mention of the names, I'll just let you know. Matthew was with Chalk Talk. Reese was with Oxen Games. Victor with Med Mentor. Mr. Josh with Scoop, and then Gavin with Catch Software. So we have approximately 2 minutes to catch these votes. You can vote for your best business ideas, those that are likely to scale and create employment and higher paying jobs, those that you just are passionate about and you think are going to do really well. Certainly get your vote in now. And hey, Jen.
Hey, great job, Lisa.
Well, thank you. Everybody was so great this evening. It's so fun to see all of these guys here tonight.
Yeah, it's very, very exciting. And we just have a minute left, and we could thank our in-kind sponsors real quickly.
Sure. So Kelly Ignis, I don't know if you have a screen for her. Miss Kelly Ignis is also a board member. She does a whole lot of things, but her company is Workshop 67. They do website design and support and all of the many kinds of in-kind sponsor things. Workshop 67 in particular does a lot of website design and marketing. So I think she's like on the next slide. There it is. So Kelly Ignis, Workshop 67@gmail.com to connect with her, or obviously online. All of our in-kind sponsors are helpful in a variety of ways. So if you're in a position to sponsor, but maybe you don't have monetary options, or you have something that you feel could be of value to TCNewTech, certainly connect with us and let us know what you feel like you could do. We could not do what we do without all of our in-kind sponsors and those monetary donations as well. So thank you for that. So where are we at on time for our big announcement of the winner of tonight's $500 prize, sponsored by the Burgess Institute for Entrepreneurs and Innovation at Michigan State University.
And congratulations to Scoop, Josh Cooper with Scoop. And let's see if he's still around. There's Josh. Congratulations.
I'm still around.
Congratulations.
Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate this. This is awesome.
Good. Well, you did a really great presentation. It's a very exciting product, and we're going to be excited to see where you go with this and what the future holds. So keep in touch with us, and hopefully there'll be some investors that get to see this and will reach out to you as well. So we'll put you back in the green room for now. We have a couple more announcements.
Thank you guys. I appreciate the opportunity.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Take care.
And thank you to Paul Jakes and Burgess Institute. That's very generous. And thanks for bringing your teams up here. So I have a thank you. No, I have a congrats to the winner. And we have a job board here at TCNewTech. So if you're looking for a job or looking for employees, you can head over to our job board. Jen's going to bring it up here in just a second. So TCNewTech.org. We have a job board that's powered by TrueJob. We're also working in collaboration with Traverse Connect's Creative Coast that you saw earlier, as well as 20 Fathoms. And collaboratively, we're going to be able to maximize all of these job boards so that you have one collective place to go and leverage those opportunities. So if you're an employee or if you're looking for an employment, if you need employees or looking for employment, that's a tongue twister, visit TCNewTech.org and our job board. One final thank you to our main sponsor at Michigan Broadband, delivering fiber broadband to the Traverse City area and surrounding areas. Thank you for your continued support, Bruce and your team. And that's a wrap. So we will either see you tonight at, where are we going? The Thirsty Fish?
Fish on
In
State Street
person.
in Traverse City.
Or next month. We're not sure if it's going to be online, or probably will be
Pretty
online.
sure we're still online.
November 3rd, same time, same place. Connect with us online and we'll see you there.
Great. Thanks a lot, Lisa. Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone. And we will see you next month. Have a great night.
Good night.